Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. It's Friday, but it's also Christmas Eve. And what better way to spend Christmas Eve morning than with my two sisters, real women, real talkers, Lisa Campo, a strong white woman. I hadn't said it in a while, but I wanted to say it this morning. And Lamia Solomon, the woman of many, many faces. Welcome those regular contributors back to the OPT Network. Ladies,
hey,
it's morning, it's early, but we're having libations and good vibes.
Yes.
Good vibes. And so as we are in the Christmas holidays, so much has happened. And I said that, I know, for Thanksgiving, but we're about to round the year up, about to end. And so tell me, Lisa, about this Christmas, 2021, because so much has happened.
Well, I was listening to some Christmas music. I can't think of the name of the song, and it says, "If the fates allow, hang a shining star upon the highest bough." That's what's coming to my mind when you say, "So this Christmas."
So this Christmas.
It's going to be whatever the fates allow.
So with this season of your life, all of our lives have taken a lot of twists and turns. How are you processing it, Lamia?
Oh, wow. My life has taken a lot of twists and turns this year. I'm processing it very slowly because, you know, a lot of people don't understand when you suffer from PTSD and you suffer from depression and you suffer from all these different things. It takes a lot that you always have to keep the smiling face, especially when you're dealing with the public. And I realized that more with Michael's death this year, what he had to deal with and those demons that were within, you know, and dealing with depression, because that's what depression is. It's a demon.
When she's talking about Michael, we're talking about Omar was his character on The Wire, and he was a very dear friend to Lamia, and we certainly have not been unengaged with mental health illness, as we here at the OPT Network have really gone on a campaign to highlight mental health. And you and I and Lisa have been talking about mental health issues for a lot of years.
Correct.
And we're really trying to normalize the conversation. And with your PTSD and Lisa, some of the challenges with anxiety, how are you dealing with that, especially after everything that's happened this year?
I'm just really trying to take one day at a time and focus on small, things that feel like overwhelmingly large tasks. I just try to eat that elephant one bite at a time and minimize and be like, okay, this part of the task and this part of the task, and then just connect my dots, because otherwise I just sit in a corner and kind of drool on myself, probably, because it's overwhelming and it causes anxiety. And it's only in this last year that I've actually been diagnosed with PTSD.
Really?
And it's been through, you know, great counseling and getting to the root of, you know, everyone's got some kind of mental health hiccup.
Correct.
And I am no different than anybody else. And so everything that she says, I'm like 100% on board with it, with anxiety, battling anxiety and depression and things that trigger simple things. I mean, even listening to Christmas music, you know, it's a bittersweet punch in the gut as how life evolves around us. And we praise God that we're still here and that, you know, we're thriving and that we're okay. But there's a lot of heartache for everyone right now. There's very few people that you can meet that has not lost a loved one to either COVID or mental cardiovascular or cancer. Gosh,
let's don't forget about suicide.
And
suicide. Or suicide. Or I say suicide, but I'm also going to, with suicide, put overdose and drug addiction, deaths from drug addictions. So when you look at the people that are still smiling at you in the street, everyone is smiling through something.
Exactly.
And so I'm just going to be the champion and the warrior right along with them, because we could all choose to be sad in the corner, but none of us would get anything done.
Exactly.
And so you've got to, you know, put your lipstick on, strap on a fresh pair of underwear, tie up your boots, and march forward. I mean, what else can you do?
But, you know, sometimes I worry about that, though, you know, putting that face on, because, you know, we've talked about the mask a lot over the years. And I think a lot of people, especially during the holiday season, are putting the mask on. And I don't know just how healthy that is, really.
And, you know, I could be the first one. You know, when PTSD was affecting me more so and I was having severe anxiety attacks, it's because I continued to put the mask on. And I never would address anything. And then this past year more so, I would address things, but I never really placed it head on to say, okay, this is really what's going on with me. These are one of the contributing factors that I never really dealt with. And one of those things was, you know, with child molestation, to where in our family, in our culture, where we believe that, you know what, we sweep it under the rug, it never really happened. Or they try to convince you that it never really happened to you. So one of the things, and it came to me, I knew that it already happened to me. I would address it previous shows. But also, I woke up after seeing that my siblings watched it happen and they knew it. And I never really, that was something I blocked out in my mind. And then when I woke up, I was like, this happened. They really did watch my older brother do this to me and then tried to convince me that it really didn't happen.
That you were crazy.
That I was crazy to keep the peace. And I'm going, no. So it brought that anger back to me to say, wait a minute. After all these years, y'all told me y'all didn't know. But in all actuality, not only did you know, I saw your eyes watching me at 6 years old get molested.
Wow.
And now you're saying you didn't know when you knew the whole time. And you did nothing. You stood by, my brother and my sister stood by and did nothing. They watched it. And so then he says, well, I thought you were another girl. What? No, you knew it was me. I'm 6. I don't look like a grown woman. I'm 6.
Wow.
So my thing is, and I'm an advocate on it right now, like I believe, stop covering up. Address it head on. Don't be ashamed, because they wanted me to be ashamed of my reactions. But your actions caused my reaction, and I will not be afraid of that. I will not sit back and allow you to stand tall and try to make me look small when you're the one who did something to me.
Wow. And so how do you heal from that? Do you heal?
You do heal. But the only way you can heal is by addressing it head on and putting it back on them. And then you have to turn around and forgive them. That don't mean you got to deal with them, but you got to forgive them and say, you did this. I'm not going to deal with you. I owe you nothing.
Did your brother ever acknowledge that he did it?
No. He doesn't want to acknowledge it because that would make him look bad in front of my mom. However, my mother knows it happened. And the thing is, because of our family and how we want to be in our family.
Family secrets,
it'll make her look like, oh, I wasn't there. But that's not the point. You were there. You were working. You were doing what you needed to do to provide for us. So I'm not holding you accountable for that. But what I am holding you accountable is for right now not acknowledging it.
Right. And you just need that.
And I need you to acknowledge, yes, it did happen. Yes, this is what took place, and stop covering for him.
Right. And it wasn't your fault.
It wasn't my fault. It was his fault. But yet you baby him. And he's older than me. So he's a teenager at this point. And not only did he do it to me, he did it to his daughter.
Wow.
He did it to my sister. And you're still babying him. No. Hold him accountable like you would hold anybody else accountable. And it made me so upset. I had a cousin that, her child was molested or whatnot. And my mom sat in court with her every day and say how that person needed to be castrated.
Wow.
But you got a son
that did the exact same thing.
And you feel like, oh, he's okay. He just needs a little help. No, his ass needs to be castrated.
Indeed. Let's get a break here. That's what's happening at Christmas, really around the country. Unresolved family issues. It's Real Women, Real Talk. We're back with more right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. It's Real Women, Real Talk. Christmas Eve 2021. And I'm joined by our regular contributors and women who really are just open to whatever the conversation is. And during the holiday season, there are so many hurts that seem to come up. And though this was not our plan to talk about those hurts, I think it's really apropos because a lot of families are going through unresolved issues.
Exactly.
And so for some reason, Lamia, it just started flowing out. And I think a lot of people can really connect to that hurt. And so subsequently, when families come together, which you've said you hadn't been with your mom or spoken to your mom in years, some people come together and put the mask on, and some people just don't come together at all.
And you know, the thing is though, because when you come together and you put the mask on, that hurt is still there. And you still, that's where the anxiety comes in. That's when you know there's an issue because you're sitting there and you're looking across from someone that knows that they did something to you and they feel nothing.
But maybe you think they feel nothing, but how can you not feel nothing when you violated a baby?
But that nobody, you know what? The thing is though, you expect people to feel like you.
Right.
But if they really felt something, then they would try to resolve the issue. They wouldn't make years and years and years to try to resolve the issue. There would be an apology there, a heartfelt apology. There would be some type of resolution there. But when they look at you and they act as if nothing happened and you should be okay, you're the one with the problem, then that means there is no closure. There's no closure for you because they're not even recognizing that they did anything to you, that it is normal. So how do you deal with someone that thinks that what they did to you is normal?
Wow.
And, you know, right now we're talking about her specific situation, which is molestation. But what she has just said, so many people can relate to, whether it's verbal abuse, mental abuse, neglect, financial abandonment, molestation. There are so many levels of abuse that when your abuser and the world around you, the environment around you, keep laughing and chuckling it up like it never happened, in your mind, they're basically gaslighting you that whatever you think, whatever you feel, whatever you remember, it's all in your head. Never happened. Sweep it under the rug because we're one big, happy, perfect family. And you know, that's where the anxiety and the depression comes along, being overwhelmed because your mind keeps playing this reel in your head. And you're like, wait, did I imagine? And you do start asking.
Start doubting yourself.
Did I imagine
Did that really happen?
And that's part of the abuse is
the
when they
gaslighting.
start making you believe, am I imagining this abuse?
Am I crazy?
Oh my God, maybe this really never happened and I've
Everybody
ruined
everybody else said it didn't
everybody
happen,
else is singing the same story, but am I ruining the family? Yeah.
And
that is
the black
abuse.
sheep.
That is decades of abuse. And there are people walking around. And so look, we're saying how it's Christmas time and we're talking about our hurts. Well, of course we are. Because what else would the enemy want us to focus on but the things that broke us versus the Savior who saved us?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so don't put the face on. Just reflect on the child Savior that we know in the morning. That this is our faith. And no hurt and no enemy can take away our faith. He comes through our kids. He comes after us through our family, our kids, our spouses, our siblings, our parents, our finances, our careers.
Exactly.
He has to find some way to get after us.
You know, there is a pastor, Tim Story, who said years ago, he said, the devil is aiming at your heart.
Exactly.
He's aiming that arrow right at your heart.
Exactly.
Your kids, your marriage, you know, the things that you hold the dearest, you know, and for a lot of people's kids are on another path. A lot of people are going through with drug addiction and with kids that they've prayed and prayed and prayed for and are saying, okay, God, how long?
Right.
And so, you know, the enemy aims at our hearts.
Exactly.
And I was having this incredible conversation with one of my sorority sisters a week or so ago, and she was saying that when you are at your lowest, that will lead you to the cross.
Exactly.
Your kids will put you on your knees and keep you there, and they will lead you to the cross.
Well, you know, my kids give me a hard time because they're like, well, you weren't this Catholic when we were little. No, your grown asses have made me a little bit more faithful. God have dropped me at the foot of the cross. You're right there, Skippy.
Your husbands will, and your wives will lead you to the cross.
Yes, and your career, all, you know, everything that you have to press into, anything that's worth holding on to and fighting for will lead you to the cross.
At every time. And you know, one of the things I do say is that he carried me.
Oh, yeah. He's carrying. He's carrying
me. He's carried me and he's carrying me. So when people say, oh, well, you know, we look at you and it's like this. No, you know what? You're looking at the God in me. You might not like me, but you got to love what comes out of me. Because I'm going to be 100% real because you know what God says? You don't have to be ashamed no more.
And you know your guardian angel saying, Lord, I really did try.
Exactly. Let me tell you, my guardian angel is my friend Rochelle. She's on this and she's saying, I done tried.
Lord, I'm trying, Lord.
I done tried. And look, this is the result of it. And he going,
but
that's okay. I got it.
I think some of the actions and some of the things that we do are just really rebellion against
whatever has happened. Yeah.
Whatever has happened, you know?
And I agree with that. Like, I can tell you, I rebelled at a younger age due to the trauma that I had went through. My parents couldn't understand, why did she join a gang? Like, that's the craziest thing you can ever do. Because I wanted to do something to the person that was doing something to me. I needed protection. I wanted to be protected. So a lot of people have to understand what takes place in a child's mindset. If my parents cannot protect me,
then who can?
Then I need to protect myself. So at 13, I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to go and join this game because guess what? They're going to protect me. My parents, they're working. They're not protecting me, though. And I'm sure they would have, but they were working. My dad worked 2 full-time jobs and never missed a day of work.
Wow.
My mother, she went to school and worked. So, but one thing she did was make sure that, you know what, we had a meal at the table every day, breakfast and dinner. And so I'm not knocking her for what she did. She did what she had to do to raise all of us. Because I'm the youngest of 12 and then she adopted after that.
And
as
so
well.
do you think, though, that there will ever be resolve with your mother's?
She has to acknowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
There has to be an acknowledgement. And that is my biggest thing with her. You need to acknowledge that it happened.
Mom, if you're listening,
stop. Acknowledge that it happened.
Parents,
stop.
If you're listening, acknowledge. If your child's acting out,
there's an
something's happened. Something's happened.
Absolutely. Let's get a break here. When we come back, we'll talk about being present for the presence.
Exactly.
Stay on point. It's Real Women, Real Talk. Lisa Campo and Lamia Solomon. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. It's Real Women, Real Talk, Christmas Eve 2020, 2021. And we're talking about just real family issues and how to find resolve, really, from the hurts of the past. And you both said at the end of the last segment, acknowledge, acknowledge, acknowledge.
Okay, but I'm going to say this. Acknowledge within yourself that we have unrealistic expectations out of people who have no capacity to ever acknowledge.
Exactly.
So you have to step back and acknowledge yourself and be happy here because you cannot get apologies or forgiveness or anything else out of people who are not even willing to look at themselves in the mirror.
So look at this piece though, right? We're all moms.
Right.
And at the end and the beginning of every day of our kids' lives, we all tried to do the very best. I mean, you, Lisa, created the opposite family from your family growing up. I tried to do the same thing. I tried to do the complete opposite.
And that's what everyone does, I think.
And so we can't just say that our parents, your parents, didn't do their very, very
No,
best.
it's a generational thing. And I mean, you know,
It doesn't help.
it doesn't help. It was a generational thing. And I mean, everybody talks about feelings and mental health and depression and anxiety and suicide and unwed mothers. And I mean, that's common conversation now. But before, it was the things that you only whispered about
Right.
because it was just swept under the rug.
And
I
it
mean,
was shameful.
it was shameful. I mean, my parents were very unhappily married. And I can remember my mother telling the story that when she went to her mother and said, I'm getting a divorce, and my mom was, I don't know, late 30s, my grandmother slapped her across the face and told her, you will not shame this family with a divorce. It was a failed marriage well before my mother declared, I want a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was all about the appearance of the family. And it wasn't that great of an appearance to begin with.
Right.
I mean, I'm just like, there was no consideration for her mental health or her happiness. So how could anyone distribute that to their kids when they weren't getting it as well?
Right.
So there comes a point in every chain where someone's got to step up and break the link.
Mhm.
Exactly. And then, but you know, you go through it and you say, you know what, I'm going to break the link. I'm going to be different. I'm not going to subject my children to the same thing that I was subject to. So we find ourselves overcompensating.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So then when we
Spoiling.
overcompensate,
AKA spoiling.
exactly. So then when we overcompensate, they become privileged. And then they still rebel.
Right.
On top of, okay, we're giving you everything. Well, now you're not giving me enough. And now, you know what? You owe this to me. Now I'm supposed to be. Now, mama, I'm like, wait, hold on. I could beat your ass like my parents.
Exactly. I was just thinking, where's that water hose?
That extension
I'm kidding.
cord.
I'm
Exactly.
kidding. I'm
Oh,
so
God,
kidding.
no,
I would
for
never.
real. Where's the water hose and the extension cord? Because I'm going to have to beat your ass because you think that you finna sit up here and talk to me crazy after I sacrificed to try to make you not get raised the way I was reared. You know what I'm saying? So, no, my son is the same thing.
So is this what's wrong
This is-
with our entire
I
country
think
right
we need
now?
to go back to
All of this. Okay.
You know what?
beating asses. I'm just saying.
I
it
don't
was more
agree with that. I
respectful.
don't know. I
It was
don't.
more
No one
respectful. Not
deserves to be.
beating, not beat. But I'm saying
No
a
one deserves to be
spanking.
beat.
No.
No one deserves to be
I'm
whipped.
saying a spanking.
A spanking. Look,
Yes.
look. I had my little Pampered Chef. Sorry, Pampered Chef. I had my little Pampered Chef wooden spoon,
I just
and I would
Yeah.
tap that butt cheek, and you know.
Yeah, but that's
I
enough.
don't think you were tapping it. I don't even think
No,
you
it
were
was
tapping
it was a
I was applying pressure to the buttocks. So wait, I will tell y'all this one time. You know, I would always fuss. Chase never listens to me, and Craig was like, "You got to have follow through. You like just tap and tap and tap and get out
Follow
of it.
through.
You got to like get up in it and deliver that." And I'm like, "Okay." So one day he comes home, and I'm about to just tear into Chase's butt with follow through. And so I've got my Pampered Chef wooden spoon, and I give Chase a good lick, and I just lift his little butt right off like his feet come up off the ground. And Craig was like, "No, you can't follow through with a weapon." He's like, "You got to follow through with the hand." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not hurting my hand. If I follow through with his ass, I'm gonna hurt my hand." I'm like, "You can apply the follow through when you're not here. I'm gonna apply that tap, tap." And I would like tap that. I would say, "Put your hands on the counter because I'm about to tap that ass." And I would give a little couple of swats, and
that was it.
that was it.
Self-preservation.
And we're laughing, but we all remember.
Well, the Bible says, "Spare not the rod."
Exactly.
Yes. But we, the three of us, all remember being held by one hand while the parent wailed the other with whatever object they had,
Absolutely.
and they hit you from your skull to your ankle.
Yes.
It didn't kill us.
Didn't
That
kill us, but it
is
hurt.
not constructive discipline, and I don't care
Well,
what
we know
anyone
better
says.
now in 2020.
Well, obviously,
Yeah.
when I was following through with the Pampered Chef spoon, it wasn't enough.
It was it. But hey, I can tell you this. With the generation that we have now, they cannot accept no.
And it's coming out of our school systems. I'm
Look,
sorry, school
well,
systems. There's something going on in the schools.
No.
Yes,
no,
it's my opinion.
That's
My
your
opinion.
I
Okay.
get it. And I disagree
Where's
with
it
that.
coming from?
Okay, so this is the thing. You can't say the school system is rearing your children, because if at home, and I say this, I have a daycare, you know, and I say this because I have parents that will, the 2-year-old is running the house. So if the 2-year-old wants
That's
to
scary.
go to Walmart and you don't go to Walmart, you texting me because you don't know how to get your child to stop screaming.
That's not what I was saying. I apologize.
But
I need to reiterate what I was trying to say.
So,
you finish.
So what I'm saying is, at home, kids love structure.
Oh, yeah.
They need it in their life. They need structure and they need discipline. And even though it may hurt the parents to do it, they still need it.
Yeah,
and what
agree.
happens is right now, because everybody think, well, if I barely touch them, they're going to say it's abuse. Or if I barely do this, it's going to be. But what you're also allowing that child at 2 or 3 year olds to understand that they will not be able to accept no.
Ooh, that's
so
good.
what happens is when real life comes,
right,
and they're
coming.
Older, real life is coming. They don't know how to accept. They're not prepared for no. You can't have this, and you can't do this, and this is not the way life goes because you have reared them to yes.
What I was saying, and you're correct 1,000%. What I was saying in regards to our school systems not bashing teachers, there is some kind of national movement. Some school boards are involved in this, where there is an educational agenda that not any of us parents agreed to. And my kids aren't little and in school anymore, but there are some situations going on in our school board systems nationally that we are seeing in the press.
But what does really have to do with you rearing your child?
Are you talking about critical race theory?
No, no. I'm talking about
no.
There are books in our elementary school libraries that are trying to teach our children about different options of sexual intercourse.
Really?
There are things in our school system that are encouraging our children, once they're in the schoolhouse, they get to pick their genders. I was defending when I said our school. I was defending. I had disagreed with you, and so I was just clarifying why said the school system.
Those
no, there are some things going on in our school systems that are questionable.
I don't know if that's the school system or if that's the world system.
Right.
Well, it has penetrated.
Yes.
It has invaded our school systems. And for a school board to tell parents, and there are videos of this, it is all over the media and social media. We are the school board. We will teach your children what we determine to teach.
Wait, let's think about this.
Hold that thought. We got to take a break. It's hot in here. It's Real Women, Real Talk. Christmas Eve. Stay on point. We're back right after this.
All the staff at On Point Media and the Carlette Christmas Show would like to thank you for watching and listening to our programming. We want to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a very happy and prosperous New Year.
Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network, Real Women, Real Talk, Christmas Eve 2021. And whenever we're joined by Lisa Campo and Lamia Solomon, it always promises to be unhinged. To say the very, very least. So with all of that said, I know that there are, I think back to the point that we were talking about what's happening in schools, I think that this is probably just the Bible fulfilling itself. And I believe that we're going into those times where Scripture says there's a way that seems right unto men, but the end thereof. And so I think that this is where parents have to pick up on their own moral and spiritual compasses and say,
not my child.
Not necessarily not my child, because what I'm learning about children is that we can't impose our wants on their wills, no matter how.
I don't disagree with that, but a minor is a minor, in my opinion. And it is a parent's place to set the example, not a school board or an elected official to declare a child's. Do your research. Do your research. It's out there. There's a lot of it out there.
So, in my opinion, this is me. It is up to the parent to teach their child the difference between the two. I do agree with that. It is up to the parent to say there are going to be a lot of options out there. However, this is what I believe, and express to them their choices at home. Because the world is not going to be nice, and it's always going to give you options.
Always.
What was the
Always.
saying? You can
Sure.
always, well, there was always that one bad kid in every class that would educate the whole class.
Oh, yeah.
On, you know.
You got street smarts.
There's always one kid that knows everything else, like 2 years ahead of all of the other kids in class because he's got older siblings. He or she had older siblings, and so there's always that one bad apple that's going to educate your kid for you if you don't be responsible and do it yourself.
So, with that said, how with all of what happened with COVID in 2020, moved into 2021, everything that every family has gone through, all the hurt, all the pain, you know, all the trials, all the triumphs, because there were some triumphs. A lot of people, you know, even through this, had some great things to happen. But how do you remain present for the presence? You know what I'm saying? Bringing yourself into the moment for the celebration of Jesus Christ.
Of Jesus Christ. You know what? And I can definitely answer that with everything that goes on in my life. Everything, like I keep it so real. It's like whatever goes on in my life, when it's Christmas time, I try to say, okay, you know what? He brought me through this. He put, you know, he allowed things to happen to you so he can bring you through it so you can be more thankful. So at Christmas, I'm like, you know what? I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Because if you was not here, if you had not been born,
Right.
I wouldn't have made it through.
I wouldn't have made it through.
I wouldn't have made it through this year. So you know what? I'm glad, even though whatever hurt I've been through, whatever I've gone through, death, the whatever, at the end of the day,
never would have made it.
I would not have made it through any of it this year, the years ago. I didn't make it to 47 because of myself. You were born and you worked through me. You helped me make it to 47. And if you may help me make it, hey, let me make it to 48. I'm waiting for the next year because I want to see what he's going to bring to the table. Because the devil done tried me and I've been saying, God damn it, I'm going to get your ass. Oh no, you're not getting me today. God got my back. And so I'm not giving him that power. Not at all.
For you, Lisa, how were you with all of the challenges that have happened in your life, in your family's life? How will you be present? You know, totally not distracted, not focusing on the things that you couldn't control.
Well, I've tried to be very strategic, and
because you love Christmas and you love decorating and you love the whole pomp and circumstance.
Exactly. I'm trying to get the fried cabbage. Go, come on.
That's New Year's.
That's New Year's, boo.
I'm trying to get to it though. Let's just get to it.
I'm just trying to keep things really simple and in perspective. And keep my unrealistic expectations in check for everyone in my life, but more importantly for myself. Because I have very unrealistic expectations. I keep waking up every morning being like, Lord, I want to identify with a 21-year-old female millionaire. And I wake up and go, yep, no, that ain't happened. Look at my checkbook. Yep, no, that ain't happened. So I'm just trying to keep things really simple and present in my own presence instead of checking out and faking through it. I'm taking a lot of time for myself while the rest of the world sleeps. I'm usually awake. And so I take that time just to really let go of what's strangling me. You know, I may wake up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and cry for a good 30 minutes, but hey, I got it in and now I can put my face on and get through it. And so if you need to do that to get through it, then embrace it and ante up. I mean, you know, that's what causes the anxiety and being overwhelmed is you keep trying to just push it down and then, you know, you have small nervous breakdown. Let it go. I mean, just let it go.
Will you be able to let it go though?
No, I'll probably be up by about 4:30, 5 o'clock Christmas morning, tomorrow morning. And I'm probably going to give myself that good, just go ahead and purge it out, get it over with, whatever's eating me up, get it over with, and put some of those little gold patches under my eyes and go ahead and move forward in my day and greet the family, those who decide to show up and be present in my life, and cheers. Those who don't, Cheers.
I'm gonna cheers to you.
You ain't getting no cabbage.
Hey, what do y'all got planned for food? Is your daughter
That let me tell you something. I gotta give a shout out to my daughter Camelia Young, Master Chef.
Master Chef?
Hello, Camelia Young. So I am so excited because she is going to prepare the authentic dinner. She's gonna do not traditional because she specializes in Asian. She's special Mediterranean.
So
I
your
know.
table is just going to be a smorgasbord.
It's going to be different than any other year. And I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited to have her home. And it's just like, let's do it. We're going to do non-traditional this year. So I'm waiting for tomorrow.
We're doing non-traditional too.
Wow.
We're frying fresh fish. We're not doing dressing or turkey.
All right, then.
I decided I'm not cooking for 30 people when I don't know how many will show up, so I'm just going to fry. Where Craig said he's frying fish.
There you go.
Oh, that's love right there.
Well, on behalf of Real Women, Real Talk, Lisa Campo.
But what are you doing? No.
Hey, what are you cooking?
What are you doing?
I'm not cooking a thing. I'm just going with
Clink.
I'm just going with the flow.
That's what Real Women do.
I've got 2 small babies. On behalf of Real Women, Real Talk, and all of our family and friends at On Point Media, all of the people that work so hard, Sherry Seaman, I don't know what I would do without her, and our team, we wish you a very Merry Christmas. Stay on point. We're back to wrap up right after this.